What's up everyone? Today we're making jollof rice. This is my first time cooking African food, but I've got a great teacher. This is Maheza, she does our customer service here, and we're going to be using her family's version of this recipe. We're going to start by making the chicken seasoning. Combine 1.5 tablespoons of black pepper, 3 tablespoons of halal chicken bouillon, half a habanero pepper seeded or unseeded if you want it to be extra hot, 1 bulb of garlic cloves, and 2 to 3 pinches of nutmeg. Scrape down the sides and process that again until we have a thick seasoning paste. When I made this, I only used 1 package of chicken wing drumettes, but I'd actually recommend using 2 or using our halal chicken drumsticks just so you have more meat at the end. Split the seasoning paste in half and add half a teaspoon of ginger. Then we'll massage that into our little chicken pieces. Now we'll bring out a Dutch oven and toss the chicken in there. Cover that with 3 cups of water, 2 bay leaves, and 2 tablespoons of halal chicken bouillon powder. We'll give that a tiny whisk and then we'll let that boil until the chicken is fully cooked. This takes about 20 to 25 minutes or so. While that boils, we'll head over to a bigger food processor and we'll dump in 3 large jalapenos chopped, 2 red bell peppers also chopped, and 3 tomatoes, believe it or not, also chopped. We'll puree that until everything is cut up very fine. By this time, your chicken should be about done. We'll pull that out and let it rest on a paper towel lined plate. Then we'll pour our cooking liquid into a mixing bowl. Save that broth though, we want to keep all those flavors for later when we cook our rice. Now we're going to pat the chicken dry, then air fry it at 375 degrees for 6 minutes, flipping halfway through. Once those have gotten a little bit more crispy, we'll leave them in a warmed oven until we're ready to eat. While that cooks, we'll head back over to the Dutch oven and add in 1 1/4 cup of canola oil. Then we'll add in 3 finely diced small onions. Now we're going to cook that for about 10 to 15 minutes or until the onions have softened. Then we'll add in 12 ounces of tomato paste. Make sure you mix this gently. If you're too vigorous, you could get hot oil on yourself and that's no good for nobody. Stir that constantly, and once you can slightly smell the tomato paste, we'll add in our remaining seasoning paste, half a teaspoon of ginger, 2 tablespoons of paprika, about a teaspoon of sea salt, and then we'll gently mix it until all of the seasonings are combined with our tomato paste. Cook that for a few minutes, then we'll add in our pureed veggies. Again, stir that up so everything is all mixed throughout. Once that starts getting a little bubbly, we'll lower our heat, cover, and simmer for about 10 minutes. It occurred to us as we were cooking that we had some people out of the office and it didn't make sense to make a ton of jollof. Because of that, we decided to remove half of the red sauce to save it. My dad actually ended up taking it and using it as a marinade for some chicken, and it was really good. The amount that we use here should be enough to feed 4 to 6 people. If you're cooking for 8 to 12 people, don't remove any of your red sauce, but you will need to use more rice later. Now we'll bring in 3 cups of washed basmati rice and add that straight into our red sauce. If you're using the full amount of sauce, you want to use 5 to 6 cups of rice instead. Give that a good mixin' so the rice is completely incorporated into the sauce. It's been a while at this point, but we can't forget our chicken broth from earlier. Pour that in and give it a mix. Then you want to cover and simmer that rice for 15 minutes. You'll also want to come back every couple minutes or so and stir this up. We do this because the tomato paste has a tendency to stick to the bottom of the Dutch oven and overcook some of the rice. After 15 minutes is up, we'll lift up the lid and give it a taste to see how cooked the rice is. It should be sort of soft but still hard in the center of the grain. Top the oven with the lid, wrap the foil around the lid, then lower the heat a little more and let that cook for around 30 minutes or until the rice is soft. We still want to mix the rice up every 5 minutes or so to prevent burning, and if you notice that it's low on liquid, you can always add about 1/2 cup of water at a time and mix it all up. But while that cooks, we'll make our green sauce. To make that, we'll need 1 bunch of plucked parsley, that's about 1 ounce or so, 1 medium green bell pepper cut into chunks, 1 bulb of garlic cloves peeled, 1 small yellow onion chopped, 8.5 ounces of jalapenos with the seeds, half a habanero without the seeds unless you want it super spicy, 1 tablespoon of ginger paste, a pinch of sea salt, and a few pinches of halal chicken bouillon. Now we'll give that a little puree. You'll need to scrape down the sides of the processor and press the big old chunks down into the blades just to make sure everything gets cut up properly. Also, don't forget to go back to your rice and give it a little stir if you haven't yet. Keep pureeing that until we have a nice liquidy sauce. Now Maheza tried this sauce after we had made it and said it was way too hot, so she had us cook it in a pan to reduce the heat a bit. This doesn't totally remove the spiciness, but she was right. It definitely helps make this way more palatable. She recommended that we put about 2 tablespoons of canola oil in a pan along with our green sauce. Then she suggested we season it with some salt and a little more chicken bouillon. We'll cook that until some of the liquid simmers out, then give it a taste and see if it's still too spicy for you. If it is, you could try adding a little bit of sugar to help neutralize the heat. Now we'll head back over to the rice and we'll add in 1 package of snowpack organic peas and carrots available at midamarhalal.com and cook that until the veggies are heated through. Once the rice is done, we'll pull the chicken out of the oven and serve that up with some limes and enjoy. And that's it, you're ready to eat. Come back next week if you want to see more great recipes.